Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the Q&A of the second question. So on Discord, I'm going to go over all the questions and the answers right here in this video in one spot. So this is what we're going to do. So if you like this, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We're just 4 days away from Suicide Squad's coming out on Tuesday. Is when the official release is. So let's get to it with the first question. All right, so the first question up is, how does the Battle Pass work? Okay, and he says, we received a lot of questions about the Battle Pass, and there's a lot to cover here, so we'll break it all down. The Battle Pass in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will be cosmetic only and have both premium and free track, and new Battle Pass will be released each season. The first Battle Pass will release a launch with Season 1, a few weeks after the game's initial release. There's also will be 75 tiers to complete in Season 1's Battle Pass and include within it outfits, emotes, banners, swatches, and some of premium currency. This can also be used to purchase cosmetics items in the store, and they go towards purchasing future premium Battle Passes. Okay, he says, we also have happy to announce that you'll be able to go back and play previous Battle Passes after season ends. We believe that your team has created some of the best looking cosmetic items ever, and we want those to be available for our players to enjoy without fear that they'll miss out on anything. It also continues to say, as a reminder, each season will have a new playable character, new Elseworld to explore, loads of new gear, new missions to play, and more, all for free. The Premium Battle Pass is an optional extra for those who want to look extra fly while kicking some Brainiac butt. And keep in mind, all purchasable items are completely optional and do not affect gameplay in any way. Now, I think this is huge. Okay, I think this is huge. I think the reason that they're doing this is, look, everyone still has this like bad taste in their mouth from all the other live service games. For some reason, my analogy always is, if a dog bites you, not all dogs are bad. So if a live service game bits you in the end, that this is not going to do the same thing. Now, obviously, you could be skeptimistic or skeptical, or you have some criticism with it, and you don't have to buy it day one. You can wait and see if the lies or if it's true. Nothing happens if you don't buy the game on day one. So the second question is, okay, let's move over to endgame. He says, in endgame, also possible to do solo. 100% yes. All the content and the missions we have in the game can be played solo or in a group configured to 2-player, 3-player, or 4-player. In that, the endgame launch, we wanted the endgame content to be as accessible as possible, where your friends can log on and you can still play the progress on your own. And if the 4th player in your 4-player squad couldn't make it because they have audacity to have a life outside of the game, we don't stop the rest of you from playing. You choose to keep on going. When you play in the game solo, you're still not on your own though. You have your other trusty AI-controlled squad members around, and you can use the gear you just give them to whatever talents they use to unlock them and make them pretty powerful. And this is also where the social squad feature, where they can bring in your friends, top leaderboards players, famous streamers, characters in your squad, and we all love playing games. But we also have lives, sort of, and that's also been a big part of the design philosophy making the game. We don't want the game to feel like it's a life commitment, and the game where you have to sacrifice a lot to see all the content to offer. We feel like you're making a progress in the game and you can't play hundreds of hours. We want this game to be generous both with your time and with your features we have to offer. Even though the toughest content and the mayhem missions culminates in the epic boss fight, are playable with solo, 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player, and has all of around the endgame master levels. The leaderboards also reflect its flexibility, and the leaders on the leaderboard is each endgame mission for solo, 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player. This is phenomenal. Okay. I always talk about, if you guys watch my content over the years with Destiny and Division and Anthem and even Marvel's Avengers, I've always said you got to respect the player's time, and holy shit, does Rocksteady hit this one out of the park. They respect your time. It doesn't matter if you're solo. You have to wait for LFG to try to find your team, right? You can play solo, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player. You don't even have to show up. Your friends can grab your character that you have, and you still get the benefits of the rewards and resources and whatnot as they're playing through the game. This is great. This is phenomenal, and I don't know how anyone can look at this and hate on this, okay? Anyway, he says, next one, okay? How much loot, build progression, and RNG base is there to expectation players will repeat certain missions or activities dozens of times to get the rarest gears / stat rolls? The loot progression in this game doesn't revolve around gear score or item power or any power creep like that. Good. Get that shit out of here. When we get the piece of loot early in the game. This is visible throughout the entire progression, and how viable it will be up to you, the playstyle, and how the hell the loot synergizes with your build. The loot philosophy in this game is really to strike a balance between the joy of getting items with the really good augments, and while at the same time to give you the power of perfect that pieces the gear to suit your playstyle and your build. All the loot in our game have a set number of augments, basically additional stats, and this bases on rarity. It's also an augment that also can come in one of 3 levels of power: uncommon, rare, or epic. To give you an example of the uncommon piece of loot, there can also be one augment, but the augment itself can be common, rare, or epic. And on rare piece of loot, it can be a 1-2 augments, and also the epic there can be 1 or 3, or 1 to 3 augments. And the legendary, infinite set, and notorious loot can be 2 to 3 augments and give plenty of opportunity to get the items with really good rolls. However, like I said, it doesn't want to be frustrating with the gear drops and augments and they don't fit your build, so that's why we have features like Penguin's Crafting and Overhaul with Toyman's modifications. Crafting is what we would expect all the loot you earn through the story, and also add through crafting recipes so you can easily craft them and happen to get rid of the item they earned early in the game. Overall, rerolls of the augments in one piece of loot, which gives you a way to reroll the item without worrying about having to sacrifice the loot gods to try to get the piece of loot again. Modifications let you reroll the augmented of the item and get back and pick from 3 random augments and keep that one that you have. Once you reroll the augment, you'll look into it just being able to reroll that augment, i.e. if the reroll or uncommon augment on the item, you can also lock it into being able to reroll the uncommon augment for another uncommon augment. Now, the TOTES, the TOTES, lets you re-roll the augment, but also lets you pick the augment that you want to roll from in a list of possibility augments. So the modification presented to you is a list of random augments and the random stat ranges. Now, the TOTES also lets you straight up pick the augment that you want to roll and get it picked up in the list of 3 pre-mutations of the augment. Now, Eluding is insanely powerful because it unlocks the ability to modify the TOTES, and not just one augment, but all augments on that item. In short, Eluding gives you the control to perfect augments in the item suit, your build, and your playstyle. Supercharging lets you upgrade the afflictions of that item and make the effect last longer on enemies. Now, another feature worth mentioning, he says, let's further customize your gear with the firearm upgrades once you unlock the story, and uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary firearm levels up when you use it. You earn the points that you can also apply to 5 different categories of firearms attributes: accuracy, stability, zoom, reload speed, and magazine size. Each of these attributes can be upgraded up to 3 times, and the maximum points available for the firearm depends on the rarity, and there are also legendary firearms that can get up to 15 levels, which makes it possible to maximize all attributes on this firearm if you use it long enough. I love this. I said this back in Destiny 1. If a gun comes in the game and I want to use that for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, if the game still goes, I should be able to do that. And lo and behold, you can do that. The more I use the gun, the more I want to do the build with the gun. It's my gun. Let me do what I want with it. And he says, before you ask if Infamy set firearms and Notorious firearms cannot be upgraded, sorry, we wanted these really feel unique and fit personalities of the DC villains, and they're infused with. But don't worry, there's still plenty strong enough already. So the Notorious firearms and the Infamy sets you cannot do. They're already preset on that type of stuff, which is fine. Okay. He says, Axel, the people demand more endgame details. Okay. He says, ask, what type of quest design can we expect in terms of endgame quests? Well, ask and you shall receive. We decided early on that we wanted to lean in on the difference between characters as well as a wide range of crazy build permutations. We provide mostly variants of the game alongside with somewhat frantic combat, and this is typically something we think that will also launch in the Finite Crisis endgame. This builds can also be fine constructed with essentially fundamentally change the way that you play the game. Our game is pretty full of chaos and mayhem in the poor squad members, but then again, it's a sort of a thrive on that, and there frequently are instigators and said chaos. Now, that said, the goal with the mission types is the games that allow each character traversal mechanics and players to really shine, and their crazy build permutations have to really stand out. For example, one way our mission types interplay with the player builds is the Ivy's Garden Party mission, where you can also have the afflictions active, and this means you can use Poison Ivy's plant to trigger afflictions burst that affect all enemies in hit, and given the free afflictions in that mission. Now, you can also adapt your build around this, pick 2 different afflictions, and the gear takes advantage of the afflictions Ivy's plants can activate. Another example is the Skull Ship Jammin' Mission, where you can also use bonus criteria to increase how fast you can charge the beacon and how those criteria lean into the IG critical hit kills or shield harvest kills and suicide strike kills. When it comes to the post-launch, we don't want to spoil too much, and we're adding, but each episode introduces a whole new endgame chase, themed around the DC villain, which is also will be even bigger, better than the Final Crisis and Endgame. They should also be playing at launch. Each episode will have 3 full tiers of Infamy sets and a full slew of notorious items and legendary items to revolve around the theme of episodes and Infamy set villains and episodes. Each episode Infamy set villain brings along plenty of notorious villains to fit the theme, so keep an eye out for those. And while I did say there didn't want to spoil too much, we can at least say that the first episode we're adding is 6 incursion missions, 6 stronghold missions, new killing time themes and encounters, and finally a whole new mayhem mission that culminates the unique boss fight. Again, this sounds phenomenal. This sounds like a lot of content coming in that if you're a player and you just want to do the story, you can do the story in the end game. You want to mid-max, you can do the mid-max. You can build your builds, you can build your characters, and you can just start grinding certain things. So if you want to do incursion missions, there's 6 incursion missions. If you want to do stronghold missions, there's 6 stronghold missions. If you want to do the killing time themes encounters, you can do that. You can do the mayhem missions, and you can do the boss fights. Upside down triangle, I always talk about this in video games. Okay, respect the player's time. Give me more stuff to do in the end game so I don't get that rampant same thing over and over and over. Okay, let's go with another question here. He says, will you be able to replay the campaign? He says, yes, absolutely. You can replay the whole story or just jump back in and replay your favorite mission. Maybe you want to replay the story as Joker, or maybe you want to fight as Flash over and over again, different squad members, and these options are available to you. If you want the tougher New Game Plus type challenges, then we have Metropolis Invasion levels when you start the game and you have standard, easy, medium, and hard difficulty levels. But once the main story has been completed, we unlock 5 additional difficulty levels over and above hard. If you have to complete the mission while playing the Invasion level to unlock the next higher level, this means you can replay the whole story, increase the challenge as you go, and if you're good enough to survive. Now, another sneak peek into what is all working with the invasion levels not only increase the difficulty of the game, but also rewards of whether the part of the story you're playing. And that might not be some unique legendary items or master versions of familiar items that you play with the higher invasion levels. This is fantastic as well. Again, respecting the player's time. If you want to go back in and play certain missions, or if you just want to grind Flash, or you want to grind Batman or Superman, you can do those missions over and over and get that loot. That's fantastic. Okay. Next question. Some clans seem to be an interesting part of the game and that promotes both teamwork and competitiveness. Could you guys be going more in depth on how they work with the benefits from being in a clan? We wanted to have the clans in the game to promote bigger and feeling and being in a squad, and even when they aren't directly paying with others, we wanted you to get rewards from engaging with your clan. So you feel like you're progressing through the clan as a thing together. At the same time, just like Suicide Squad themselves, we wanted to maintain the interior squad competitiveness. Each clan has its own leaderboard, which is just for clan members. Whether you beat the clan member's score, you get to send them a rival taunt, and if you highlight the playing testing within the design team, and we may or may not have sent about 10 or those to Axel in the background. Johnny's a bit harder to beat, though. There's also internal play between clans and social squads. If you're part of a clan, your squad bots gets filled in with the members of your clan. Not only do they get to enjoy sending the guys rival taunts, they also get to beat them using their own characters. Now, the clan also both daily and weekly challenges, and completing these earn clan XP, which is turned into rank up, rank up with the clan. Each clan member also has individual rank within the clan to increase how active they are and how much contribution they are ranking up in the clan. Increasing your clan's ranking will unlock rewards for the clan. These rewards benefit all members of the clan and range from cosmetic like unique clan banners and XP bonuses and resource bonuses. So, your individual clan rank shows how much you have contributed to the progress of the clan. This comes with a slew of rewards, and by the way, the weekly clan care package. The more you contribute to, the better rewards will be, and then they can also get pretty sweet. Make sure that you keep an eye out for the clan challenges, and you want to make the other members of your jump the gun and get ahead of you. This sounds good too. Sounds like the clan, so you have this internal competition with your group. Now, I know for me personally with my group, we're going to have the 30 NSG group or the Goonies squad, and we're going to be able to go through and play competitively with each other just as friendly competition. I think that's fun for communities like this, and you can pull whoever you want into your squad to try to beat each other's scores and whatnot, this sounds like a blast. Okay, so can your friend join midway through your playthrough? He says yes. If you're matchmaking, setting and open friends, and the game will allow you to drop in, drop out throughout most of the story and beyond. There are a few exceptions to the rule. But the player trying to join in will be held as a queue and will enter the game in the next available opportunity. And if you're playing with a private session, you can always send a squad invite to a friend if you want them to join your squad straight away. Elseworld missions are some of the biggest challenges in the game, and you'll need to have your party locked in beforehand. If you're going to be a reward of the most challenging missions, you need to have there from the start, and it's only fair. Now, the game also allows you to play with your friends, even if you're in a different part of the story. For example, if your friend is at the start of Chapter 3, while you're at the start of Chapter 2, you can progress with them through Chapter 3, and progress will of course be saved. Now, when you go back and to continue your story in Chapter 2, the complete chapter, the game will recognize that you've already completed some of the Chapter 3 and will give you the option to skip that part you already played with your friends. Hallelujah. We talked about things all the time because this is fantastic, because a lot of people like to play the stories by themselves, and they have to finish the story before they play with their friends because they don't want to be ruined by things. But now, if someone's ahead of you, okay, and you play through your point, and then you go back to your game, you can just skip that part. You don't have to play it again. This is another phenomenal thing as well. So, how does online matchmaking work? First off, let's talk a bit about the online matchmaking philosophy. As he mentioned, we wanted to make sure that these little frictions are possible when playing through the story. In any group configuration, we not only let freely replay any part of the story, but we also want to make sure you can jump ahead and play with friends and not have to replay that part of the story unless you want to. Our online matchmaking philosophy is very similar to what we want to give also many options, as much freedom as possible, and play the game the way you want to play it. All content is playable solo, with friends, or with a console player that you also just want to play a game solo. You won't even need a PlayStation Plus or an Xbox Game Pass membership to do so. At launch, our game has 3 different matchmaking options: private, open, and friends and public. Private games are invite only. If you want to play solo and you have control over what you can join the squad, these are the ones that you can for you. The only players that can join in here are the ones decided on invite. When you play solo and not on a server, the game is paused while you're in the menu system. Open to Friends is an online session where any one of your friends' list can join your squad without first receiving an invite. Public is an online session where matchmaking and squads other players are at and slightly before the current story progression. Another thing is excited to talk about is once you've completed the story and you're in the end game, we introduce matchmaking themes to public game. So, the more easily to find players that want to play similar content, and those includes unlocking additional mastery bracket themes. So if you reached a certain mastery level, to unlock the new theme, you have to use the matchmaking to find other players who want to play the end game at the same level as you. Again, this sounds so too good to be true. Too good to be true that they're actually respecting the players and the people that come in. So you don't need these LFG sites. If you're doing endgame content in like mastery level 1 or whatever it is, it's going to put you with other people that also want to do mastery level 1. You're not going to get level 1 guy coming into your squad that doesn't know what he's doing to try to play through the game. This is another great feature. Okay, so coming in with another hot banger of a question he asked. I've been loving the competition between the devs regarding the best player, and leading in to me wondering the competitive aspect of the game significant and the rewards for top players. It says, well, extremely competitive, and every time we log in, we welcome a rival taunt. I feel inclined to respond with this, that it's on. The squad themselves are a bunch of criminals put together to initiate, don't want to work together, but have to. They can't help but brag when they feel like they have to something done special. Okay, so if you win, you get the highest score in a mission. You also get the squad leader, and you only get the chance to brag with the special win animation that you can only totally customize by choosing the mission the squad to take on next. We have a leaderboard amongst friends and clans, and you also send rival taunts to those who that you surpass them. And you can't help but smirk and feel great sense of satisfaction when sending a friend, a clan member, or a rival taunt, knowing that it will be the first thing that they see when they log in. Or even better, they're currently playing the game where they get notification telling them that I beat their score and also sent them a taunt. For a wider level of competition, the global leaderboards, solo, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player squads. When you're placing the leaderboard, your character squad loadout includes talents and cosmetics that you use in the time recording during development, and this is where you can really be competitive. We all want you to be the top theory crafting, improving your way that you play, pushing it a little bit further, and ensuring that we look as cool. Look, the cosmetics in the game are great because now if you're enjoying the game, you're playing the game, you're pushing these leaderboards, and you want to taunt, you want to look cool, it makes sense, right? So there you go. Each episode, we introduce a new leaderboard. At the end of the episode, that leaderboard is locked, and all players that had the score on the leaderboard actually get rewards based on the ranking. Once locked in, the leaderboard forever, you can always go back and look at where you placed. And however, since you replayed old episodes whenever you want, the Bring the Gear, the future episodes back there with you. Once the episode is over, we're introducing a new leaderboard for that episode, and the dynamic leaderboard with the leaderboard lets you compete with the highest positions, okay? I'm sure that there'll be exciting times when players are able to go back and beat the records that they might have been kept for a while, and we can't really put the number of the creative players out there. So the builds are going to be awesome, right? It says, what are you guys' plans to release the schedule of each episode or major updates in the game? We have a roadmap of the content already mapped out and ready to go in seasons. And here you go. They show the picture again, seen from last week, and we'll show it again here. It says seasons are a big infusion of new content and forthcoming of this first year. Latest, about 3 months each season will be themed around the playable character, introducing it in like season 1, launching shortly after the release of the game. Each season will also include an entirely new Elseworld, starting with the Joker's theme season 1. Season 2 also divided into 2 episodes, each lasting around 6 weeks. Each of these episodes will include new gear, including infamy, new set themed around the iconic DC villain, new missions, new boss fights, and all of the low price. You guessed it, free. All episodes will be playable even after they have ended. You can always go back, notorious weapons, and you need to complete your build. You can also chill in the alternate versions of Metropolis Corruption by the DNA of Mentally Unstable Clown. Wouldn't recommend staying there too long, though. He says another one for the stream. He says, will some items be exclusive to the shop, and will some outfits be available to unlock through gameplay? He says, that's a great question. As everything in our game, we really wanted to bring the DC universe into all facets. And and of course includes the cosmetic items that we have in the game. These can be required or acquired in a number of ways in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. You may have caught some glimpses of the Riddler AR challenges in Metropolis. These timed traversal challenges will reward you with awesome outfits and complete quickly enough. Outfits will also be unlocked by progressing through the story, and you can also be worn anytime after being earned. And finally, there's also cosmetic items that can be earned in the Battle Pass or purchased in the store. As stated above, the Battle Pass from previous seasons will be available to purchase and progress after their season has ended. Another question for seasons now is, so there's supposed to be 2 episodes per season, but the episode's supposed to be exactly from the design standpoint. Will some episodes be different in concept than others? Each episode will definitely be different from the last. There's also in the fact unique even within the same season. Seasons themselves are defined by the huge content drop with the feature of the new unlockable playable character, new Elseworlds, and new Battle Pass. Each season's squad gained access to Brainiac's previous conquered Elseworld to take the fight to him. So players will gain access to not only the new squad member to add to the roster, but a whole new Elseworld to explore and cause mayhem in. Our Battle Pass will feature cosmetic-only runs across the entire season, so over 2 entire episodes, which means that players will have more time to earn cosmetics across the free track, and for those that really want to lean into the customizing of their unique versions of the squad and their paid track. Each season is also made up of 2 distinct episodes. Each episode features a unique infamy set, notorious items and legendary items and gameplay modifiers, and the mutators of the new missions across the Metropolis and the new Elseworld, which include the incursion missions, mayhem missions, and the new boss encounter. Though that's not all, Brainiac is not known as the 12th level intelligence for nothing, and they won't sit idle as you defeat his forces over and over and over, whatever that means. Each episode, Brainiac is continuously probing and squad defense and trying to defense his new ways to succeed in Invasion of Metropolis. Shaking up the builds is a way that the game introduces the number of changes and forces to make it stronger. Also, some side effects that are also worth keeping an eye out. Brainiac changes his impact enemies and also certain weapon types of his gear. And to counter these changes, the squad gets new toys to play with. Each shape they get gear set, notorious items, villain synergy, and this is the way that we have episodic coincide. This is just one way we have the episodic coincide with the seasons. We can keep the squad and the players on the toes by offering ever-changing, involving experience. So that's all. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. We've been here for over 25 minutes, 29 minutes talking about this with the leak. Look, if you have any doubt about this game, then this game is not for you. If you're still on the fence about the other boot's going to drop and something's going to happen and this is how they're going to treat you, the game's going to be shallow, then this game is not for you. You could just move on. Okay? They have put the season pass out. They're telling you what the game is. They're showing you what the game is. They're telling you what the game is. They're showing you what the battle pass is and all this stuff. And yet people are just going to complain right now. And I'm sure it's around there right now because we're like 4 days out. And we haven't received, or people haven't received the codes for the review copies yet. So there's got to be something wrong with this, right? And I think, say what you want. If a naysayer, if you don't like this, then by all means, don't pick it up day one. Don't pre-order the game. Stay where you are. Stay strong to your values and don't buy the game. But those of you that are ready to play this game on Tuesday, there seems to be a whole lot of game for you to enjoy for that $70 price tag on February 2nd or the $100 price tag if you're going to get that 4 days or 3 days early access. I think they've done a really good job conveying what's in this game. I think a lot of people just wanted to fail because they wanted that Batman Arkham game, and there's so much information here. I hope that this helps you kind of decide if you wanted the game or not. If you like what you see here, please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. As always, if you like what we do here, check out some of our other videos, and I'll see you guys in Suicide Squad at midnight when a game comes out, and we'll be playing this game a lot. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.